Hello, everyone. I'm Kilvo, and today we're gonna be talking about Kenobi. I'm sorry, RIP headphone users. It's a little bit too late. The trailer came out over a week ago, but I'm still gonna talk about it because I am frankly pretty excited. I'm very interested in seeing what the changes are gonna be because we know very little about the time Obi-Wan had while watching Luke when he was a little kid in exile in Tatooine. So I'm interested to see if they change any of the stuff that we already know from canon, or if the new story in the time frame and how it relates to what we already know. I'm possibly thinking there's probably gonna be some retconning because obviously. By the way, just so everybody knows, I absolutely love Star Wars. I grew up with it, uh, specifically with the prequels, and although I kind of love them, I don't have much nostalgia for it, and I love it enough. I love the franchise enough to recognize that the prequels are kinda garbo. You have to admit it, even if you have nostalgia, that everything about the prequels is kind of trash. But what we always, what always rescued all of those three movies, what was Ewan McGregor's performance. So I'm very excited for him to return to his role, and also kinda excited to see Hayden Christensen return as well, maybe to redeem himself. His best and his only actually good part in those movies was during Revenge of the Sith, when he started slowly becoming Darth Vader. That intensity and the darkness inside him was really well conveyed by the actor. So I'm interested in seeing him play more than that role. I'm not sure how much of his face we're gonna be seeing since he's Vader now. Although he can pretty much do what he needs with his voice. It's gonna be weird not hearing him in the voice that was the Clone Wars voice. I have no idea of the name of the voice actor, but that's okay. Because I have been exposed so much to that voice and that version of the Anakin character. So it's gonna be interesting. I really wish, talking about just rambling, I really wish Vader doesn't know that Obi-Wan is on Tatooine. I really hope that, because to me it doesn't make sense if Vader knew that Obi-Wan was on Tatooine and that he was obviously protecting something. He wouldn't have left him alone all those years. They are obviously going to fight in some capacity and find each other, but I hope it's not physically. I hope it's some sort of force projection, either a vision by Obi-Wan or by Vader, or maybe like this weird dyad in the Force bullshit that was in the in the sequels. And I'm not gonna talk about the sequels. They're just depressing, but I really enjoy what Dave Filoni has been doing with the the Disney Plus series. The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett was also pretty good. It was kind of weird, but it's been pretty good overall. And at first, I wasn't too thrilled to know that there wasn't any direct Filoni involvement, but as trailers have come out and as new details about the series are becoming public, I'm hopeful and I'm excited. Very much looking forward to the role of the Inquisitors. Seeing the Inquisitors in live action is going to be a lot of fun. Even though the Grand Inquisitor looks weird, but I don't know. That's probably because the actor did something pretty cool, and the makeup to make his head look like the species and the way he looked in Rebels maybe interfered with his acting, and he can bring something really good to that character. And of course, maybe we know that Rebels is highly stylized, as well as Clone Wars, the animated series, are highly stylized. Like Count Dooku had this weird oval-shaped head, so it can easily be explained like that, even if we've seen that species in live action in Revenge of the Sith, and his teeth are not weird like they always should be in that species. Their teeth are super weird. But still, I am very excited to see the Grand Inquisitor at his highest point, at the peak of his power. It's gonna be very interesting, and we're gonna be seeing at least 2 to 3 more Inquisitors. And I'm very interested in the new one. We'll see what the story brings for her, and for Obi-Wan, she clearly is interested in him specifically, and she knows something, which is gonna be interesting. We've seen a direct confrontation from Owen Lars with Obi-Wan, which is we've already seen them interact during that time in canon. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting. I'm glad that those two actors are gonna have the chance to return to those roles and interact with one another, because they're pretty good. I'm also slightly worried that some things are gonna be heavily retconned. I don't. I've already talked about it. I really don't want Vader to know he's on Tatooine. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe the Inquisitor finds out and fails, and out of shame they just don't tell Vader, and Vader just kills them. It's a pretty big trend among the Inquisitor that Vader just murders them all because their failures are weak. And I realized that along this entire ramble, the most the word I've been using the most is interesting, and I think that very much just sums up my feelings about this series. It's interesting. I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see what it means for the future of Star Wars. And I'm very much interested in the possibilities and the things that they could bring to canon. And I really, another completely different section. I have this weird feeling and this weird hopes that there's gonna be some great cameos around the entire series, and what I kind of expect is Cal Kestis, the protagonist of Jedi Fallen Order. That's well, the sequel is in production, and in the Mandalorian season 2, or was it in the Mandalorian season 2 or in Book of Boba Fett? Well, they're basically the same thing, so I kind of getting it mixed up isn't that big of a deal. But there was the BB droid series, which is cool. It's cool to see an edition that was exclusive to the video game to show up in live action, and it's kinda suspicious that we're just visiting that time frame in which Cal is alive, and that right at that time the sequel of the game is in production and they're introducing the droid model. It feels a little bit suspicious. It also feels like Disney is very much into jamming Ahsoka everywhere. I'm glad Rosario Dawson is getting that money, that work, but maybe it doesn't make too much story sense if she shows up in this series. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see Ahsoka interact with Obi-Wan after Order 66. That's gonna be very cool. I wish it happens. Maybe none of them know that Vader is Anakin, even though Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan listened to Palpatine name him Vader, but maybe he thinks he's dead. That was before the whole high ground situation. I have this dream, this weird dream pitch that Temuera Morrison is gonna show up in some sort of capacity, maybe as Boba Fett. It would be pretty cool. But what I really want, and this dream, this wild theory, wild thing I would like to see, is maybe Cody shows up. And maybe he's been, like every single clone has, brainwashed. And he has been turned into a purge trooper. Maybe specifically, since this new Inquisitor is specifically after Obi-Wan, she enlists Cody. And she turns him, or maybe he was that before, into a purge trooper, bringing into canon the whole Legends storyline that veteran clones were turned into Dark Troopers. We have no idea what Dark Troopers look like in canon, the Phase 1 Dark Troopers, because the ones that show up in Mandalorian Season 2 are Phase 3, when they're completely droids. And there's always a little bit of truth in Legends, as Ahsoka said, and it would be so cool and so heartbreaking to see Cody again, specifically brainwashed and becoming a Dark Trooper, trained completely to hunt Jedi, and specifically him. Maybe some part of his personality remains, and it's been twisted to turn what once was loyalty and even friendship to Obi-Wan into hatred. It's so cool. I am slightly obsessed with that character for some reason. I find him really cool, and I wish he shows up at some point again in canon. And I wish it was in some capacity close to this, a confrontation with Obi-Wan. since we know he doesn't remove his chip, or maybe he does. We have no idea what happens to that character. We just know that he is not with Rex, Wolf, and Gregor when we see them in Rebels. So they never, well, maybe they never met Cody, maybe, who knows. But I would really love to see that character again. And it would be a very interesting situation to have him as a villain. I'm also willing to discuss the possibility that, and it would be pretty funny, that the Bad Batch shows up. We're about to get some news and some information about the Bad Batch Season 2, and it would be pretty funny to see Tamara Morrison playing a whole bunch of characters, not just one. I'd really like that. I don't know what role they could play in the story. Maybe they help out Obi-Wan or whatever. But that would also probably mean that one of them dies, which well, they are going to. I'm sorry to break it to you, but they don't show up later, they don't help the rebellion, or they don't meet up with Rex again. So I think it's safe to say that they're gonna die. But it would be fun to see them in live action and in this story, interacting with Obi-Wan, with another Jedi. Maybe they have this remorse about what happened and try to redeem their clone brothers, the Regs. And, well, that's pretty much it. I think I really would like to see what the Grand Inquisitor is doing. Maybe there's some speculation that we may see Luminara Unduli, which is the Jedi Master that the Grand Inquisitor killed and used her mummified corpse to lure Kanan and Ezra during Rebel Season 1. That would be very grim, very impactful for the viewer to see him finally track down and maybe kill, torture / mummify her corpse and use it as trap for Jedis, which is what he had been doing before Rebels. And that's messed up. And I wish we see that kind of stuff in Star Wars. I like when they go a little bit darker, a little bit grittier, a little bit more mature, more adult. And that would be the perfect opportunity. So yeah, overall, I'm excited for the future of Star Wars. It seems to be very much a golden age for being like a nerd or really liking this kind of stuff. So I'm overall pretty excited for the future of most fiction franchises. It seems that as they're becoming more popular, they're willing to use a lot more money, and they're willing to do a lot more projects and do a lot of crazy stuff. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi. So yeah, I've been Kelbo, and thank you if maybe you've stuck around this long, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.